No, that's a horrible laugh. Oh, longest piss in history, guys.
Yes, we know.
There it is.
Welcome to the first episode of Season 4 of 3.5 Gentlemen, the podcast where 3 of the 4 hosts provide a refined and intellectual analysis of movies from our private collections, and one of us tries desperately to keep up. We'll let you decide which host is which, but for now, my name is Sean, and with me, as always, are my co-avatars, Jeremiah.
What up, yo?
Eddie.
You're not in Kansas anymore.
And Brandon.
I don't know how we're all still awake after watching that 3-hour movie.
I lost time.
I can't believe it.
It was fucking long.
Time became nothing for me.
Time literally stopped. Yeah.
With season 4, we're returning to form from season 1. Instead of trying to choose movies to specific genre or style, we each have handpicked these movies that we are just going to want to talk about. That said, after choosing the movies for the season, we have grouped them into specific focuses, whether it's to be influential directors, mysteries, blockbusters, and beyond. Throughout the season, we'll be including some new releases in theaters and streaming, as well as TV seasons or two.
And yummy drinks, by the way.
Eddie, that was perfect.
As with every review we give, our goal is to answer one simple question. How many drinks does it take to get through to the film, or in case a special that we've just watched? Now, at the end of the podcast, we'll rate the movie or series based on a scale of 0 to 5. 0 being the perfect film that you can watch as stone cold sober, and 5 being the sort of film that makes you want to shove the same tail you have sex with into a random animals to fly or ride them, which is kind of fucking dirty. This is where we're going at for season 4? This is it?
Well, I mean, how better to start off in a movie that literally has all the planet connected and they stick their tails into it? I mean,
listen,
kind of like...
I think we got to realize the Titanic is a metaphor. So there it is.
With that, Brandon, what movie do we have sweeping into our podcast this evening?
Don't fuck it up, Brandon.
Tonight, I won't. Tonight, we have the cinematic epic directed and produced by the one and only James Cameron. That is 2009's Avatar 1. When his brother is killed in a robbery, paraplegic Marine Jake Sully decides to take his place in a mission on the distant world of Pandora. There, he learns of greedy corporate figurehead Parker Selfridge's? Is that his name?
Selfridge.
Selfridge.
You would know this if you would have read this already.
I know, but it's. I mean, that's a pretty on the nose name too, because he sells fridges. He's a salesperson. My God,
intro right here.
That really is a long intro. Oh, he's also selfish. Oh, fuck. Yeah. All right. Well, there he learns of greedy corporate figurehead Parker Selfridge's intentions of driving off the native humanoid Na'vi in order to mine for the precious material scattered throughout their rich woodland. In exchange for the spinal surgery that will fix his legs, Jake gathers knowledge of the indigenous race and their culture for the cooperating military unit spearheaded by gung-ho Colonel Quaritch. It's also a bad name. While simultaneously attempting to infiltrate the Na'vi people with the use of an avatar identity. While Jake begins to bond with the native tribe and quickly falls in love with the beautiful alien Neytiri, the restless colonel moves forward with his ruthless extermination tactics, forcing the soldier to take a stand and fight back in an epic battle for the fate of Pandora. My fucking God, that was as long as the movie was right there.
Jesus, I was about to say, are we in part 2 right now?
I knocked that out of the
a 3-hour movie. A 3-hour movie requires a 3-hour introduction.
Listeners, are you guys still here? Or okay,
listen, yeah, I know. Don't walk away. We'll have some fun stuff to talk about. Anyway, Avatar stars Sam Worthington, Zoe Saldana, Sigourney Weaver, Joel David Moore, and Stephen Lang. This film has an IMDb rating of 7.8 out of 10 and has a critic score of 82%, an audience score of 82%, respectively and incorrectly on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wait, so Joel David Moore gets a fucking shout out before Michelle Rodriguez? What the fuck is that?
We don't talk about Michelle Rodriguez anymore.
I like Michelle Rodriguez. Why not?
I think she's awesome. Joel, the grandma's boy. I mean,
fun.
Shit, seriously,
he's fun.
Before we get into our review, Jeremiah, why don't you take us through the cocktail?
Yeah, so we are celebrating our season 4 with a brand new cocktail, and for this particular movie, it's called the Avatar Cocktail. It's very simple. It's very yummy. All you need is 1 ounce of gin, 1 ounce of tequila. Do what you want to do with either of those type of brands. Go for it. Cap it off with some Sprite and add a little liqueur of blue curacao.
I'm not even going to try with that one.
It's going to be yummy. Go for it. It's the perfect way to start off the new year and the new season. So you know what? Let's just have a few drinks and go for it.
Let's talk about this long-ass movie.
Thing and cheers. Let's cheers.
I'm not drinking that because I don't have blue curacao.
You got some brown curacao.
We're filming this right now, guys.
Well, he's not going to use the whole thing, buddy. All right. Okay, so let's start talking about this movie. So one of the things that I think we should play a drinking game. And every time I say one of these things, because I seem to say that a lot. But at the beginning of the movie, I thought that the introduction of the character of Sully and the way that they kind of introduced him as the narrator, I was kind of excited because I thought it was going to be something a little bit alien-esque, a little rougher, a little bit more organic, and we didn't necessarily get that, but I was kind of the opening sequence, the concept of it, kind of was, it got me excited. I remember just being kind of thrilled by it.
It kind of reminded me of The Lion King a little bit, right? The first part. It goes right into the jungle. We don't know what it is, if it's a rainforest or something like that, and it just shuts off, and then that's it. You going right into this whole kind of like epic Avatar world by James Cameron. I mean, shit. I mean, throughout his whole career. I mean, shit. Everyone was probably laughing at him when this movie was coming out. When you think about it, you know what I'm saying?
Well, can you imagine the pitch that he has to this? Giant.
Oh no, there is no pitch. There is no pitch. The pitch is, give me $1 billion and I'll make you a movie. Like,
yo, did you hear about it? Supposedly there was a person, like an executive at Fox Studios, and he said like, hey, this movie might be very long. You might want to cut it down. And he's like, I fucking made Titanic. I can do whatever the fuck I want here. How long I want it to be. I mean, shit.
Which is his mistake. Listen, what I love about Avatar, and it's one of the only things I'll say I love about Avatar, is that it fully engrosses you in its world, right? We talked about this off camera, off mic, where literally what he does is he creates a feeling. Now, the problem is he keeps us in that feeling for just too long and for too boring at times throughout the movie. But you're right, Sean, when we get thrust in there, Jeremy, you're right. It's just like that idea that we're lost with Jake Sully, which I think it's cliche, but at the same time, that idea that you're learning with the character and trying to understand the world with the character, we do that, right? And I think that Cameron paces the beginning really, really well. His pacing, and we'll talk about this more later on, but his pacing is what falls off and I think ultimately hurts this movie. Ed?
I have to completely agree with you, Brandon. Like the very beginning, they talked about Pandora, right? Pandora is beautiful. Like you're in Pandora now. And the whole world of this is like a whole nother level of, I don't know, like I've never seen a movie like this. I think the closest thing I saw to this was Aliens, right? Like that level of like just stepping into a whole nother dimension at this time. This was 2009, right? So I don't remember anything like this prior to this. I just felt like the beginning part of it was a great introduction to the next level of Jake Sully and the outside world of like there's a line, and what we're trying to do, it seemed kind of silly for this little piece of metal, but overall, like I like the whole beautifulness of the movie. Like it was really beautiful to watch every scene, like the animals that are not really animals, I don't know what to call them, but yeah.
Things. No, I think that what this movie does, and it reminds me a whole lot of Middle Earth, and I think that Middle Earth does it perfectly, and Peter Jackson does it perfectly, and James Cameron doesn't do it so well, is that they spend so much time developing the world, right? You know, in storytelling, it's the world building. They world build so well. The problem is that Peter Jackson focuses on story with world building and balances the two. But James Cameron says, let's world build. And oh yeah, we have to stitch this world building and these beautiful shots together with some form of story. And it just doesn't go anywhere that we really need it to go. Sean, I know you kind of talked about that yesterday.
No, go ahead.
What do you think?
Jeremy,
Jer.
There's two things I want to talk about that with you, Brandon. I mean, from my understanding, according from James Cameron, like he got the idea in the mid-90s basically from a Disney movie, which was Pocahontas, about a soldier falling in love with
not Fern Gully.
What about Dances with Wolves?
Yeah. No, but I think James Cameron here was doing something totally different at the time. You got to think about this, right? In 2090, This was him flexing here. This was like, doing something in 3D, which when at the time 3D was fucking huge, and he was doing a whole different type of a shot here, of a way how we can actually view films.
Well, it was complete I know green you're saying that
too. Well, see, that's the thing, is it wasn't complete green screen.
It's not.
It was 40%. It was 40% and 60%.
Yeah.
So this is one of the reasons why I picked this movie. I didn't pick this movie because it's got the best script in the world, the best acting, because it certainly does not have the best script. The script is shit. But what it did is it revolutionized the way that film is brought onto, I guess, a screen for people to watch. So how the movie is shot. Like Jeremiah said, it was something like in the 30-30-30 range, where 30 of it was real, 30 of it was CG, and then 30 of it was a blend of. He would actually take physical things and light them, and then use the lighting technique on the people, but not the object. The technology that James Cameron built for Avatar was flawless. And if you look, I mean, like Eddie said, this movie is fucking beautiful. The dark scenes, the night scenes with the bioluminescence.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fucking beautiful.
It is.
Yeah, it's stunning, actually.
Certainly the battle scenes I was really all about. But I mean, I love the connection with the nature of this movie. That how Jeremy also said, like Lion King. It had this good vibe of Lion King, Pocahontas throughout the whole mixture of the movie. I thought it was a little bit like Last Mohicans style too, with like whoever owns the land and these other I guess you can say other people trying to just come and
the colonizers
on their territory, the colonizers, and
that was
yeah.
That theme, the colonization theme, it didn't really hit for me, because he said that so this sells for $20 million a kilo. This unobtainium, which by the way is it's a word you use in the script that you replace later because you can't think of a better term, and somehow in a $1 billion film it slipped through. That shit just bugged the shit
I guess
out.
They didn't have vibranium or something
vibranium,
like that.
I'm sorry, but anything's better than unobtainium. That's just the stupidest fucking
But
thing
Sean, what's so funny is that didn't this have kind of like a blueprint, not the same blueprint of Aliens, where actually there's a colony coming into the alien world and everything like that, and there's actually corporations that are actually trying to keep that specimen or the species alive and everything, that they use it for their own cause and whatnot. And you have like Giovanni Ribisi, by the way, who's playing the same character in a way as Paul Reiser. It's
Giovanni Ribisi.
Yeah, did I say his name right? No,
yeah.
I wasn't even close.
You're good. I'm sorry. The name you said, I'm like, I had to make sure we're talking about the same guy. Parker Selfridge.
Yeah. He's a young guy. He was in a different movie. He hasn't been in a couple movies. I felt like he peaked around this time.
Yeah.
He's good actor. Some great ones.
Oh, of course. We're talking about him recently.
Yeah. So I want to kind of go off this idea that we're talking about with the idea of showing a colonization and colonialism and all the other colonized aspects of this. But what I think is interesting compared to some of these other movies we're talking about, all these stories that we're talking about, is that they've already established themselves on this planet, right? We're not coming to it from the first meet, like take Pocahontas, right? They literally land on the new world and they go out and the natives see the white man for the first time and the white man see the natives for the first time. At this point, when Avatar takes place, it's already been going on for years, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a really interesting take, is that we're not getting this brand new, we don't know what's really happening. Like, they've already tried to make contact. They've already built the Avatar technology. They've already built these billion-dollar facilities on this planet. I think it's interesting because my question is, how would this movie have been different if they took more of the run-of-the-mill, we land and then we have to make that first contact? Would it change?
Well, one of the things that doesn't track, because one of the things that doesn't track for me is that they've spent billions of dollars on these avatars. They've clearly spent a lot of time trying to infiltrate the Na'vi through Sigourney Weaver's program with trying to get them to speak English. They've spent a lot of time and energy to try and get them to essentially, move. And here's my problem is that the only place for unobtainium on the entire planet? Like, is it just under Home Tree? Because, or is that just where they've scanned? Because it seems like, and this is just my opinion, and this is, I think, what James Cameron was attempting, the corporation was lazy. They were gun happy. They wanted to go in there and destroy the people. And I mean, just from a practical perspective, they've spent billions of dollars to not do what they did. You're telling me they scanned the entire planet of Pandora, and that's the fucking best that they came up with? I mean, it just seems like once again, that story within the story is so half-assed, just like the rest of the script.
I mean, Grace, Sigourney Weaver, she said it perfectly. Like, I mean, even in the movie, she kind of joked about it, like, we don't need another guy with a gun. You know, like, put down the damn gun, dude. Like, they could have explored. I mean, I felt like they dived into that conflict so quickly.
Yeah. But even she was a caricature, and I didn't like how they treated them as tree huggers. I'm like, first of all, they're trying to save a civilization. I mean, I am not a tree hugger by definition, but I don't get me wrong, I love the environment, but I wouldn't be considered that. You know, you're talking about you're disparaging these people by calling them tree huggers. They want to save a civilization that is living and that has like literal biological connection with this tree and with this earth and with all these different points. And it's like, it seems so half-assed. Once again, I'm going to use the word half-assed. Yeah. It's just like,
the thing about this movie that you got to remember is that we're seeing it through the eyes of Jake Sully, you know, Sam Worthington's character and everything like that. So you're basically getting kind of like, you know, like an introduction to the world and everything, and kind of like experiencing the same thing of what he's experiencing. Like, wow, this has been here for a long time. Wow, I'm by myself. What is going on here? And I think it did a really good job on that part right there, where I'm like, okay. And I totally forgot about this movie. Like, fuck, I didn't know he got like stranded out there for the longest time and shit like that.
Well, and there was a line that he used. There was a line that he used that I liked. That the reality started to feel like
his days.
When he was an Avatar, and the fantasy was when he was back as Jake Sully. And I think that what James Cameron did is he feathered that in pretty beautifully, to the point where for the last part he was mostly the Avatar. For the beginning he was mostly Jake Sully. So you kind of had this merge and then this change. And I thought that, you know, given the 3-hour length of the movie, I know that there's, you know, once again, I'm not pro 3 hours. I told Brandon, I said it's going to be an hour 45 minutes tops.
So I do want to talk about a couple things. So I mean, spoiler alert, I really don't like this movie. I didn't like this movie when I first saw it in theaters. Didn't like it again when I rewatched it. I think that there are positives. I'll save it for the end. But one of the many things that I had a really problem with, and Sean, I know you kind of touched on this a minute ago, but it's the fact that James Cameron resorts to cliche stereotypes for every single one of these characters. And it bothers me. I was watching it. I'm like, the last time I saw such blatant characterization, caricature and stereotyping, is The Breakfast Club, which is all about characterizing or caricaturizing these characters. But literally, look at it. You got Stephen Lang, who's the gung-ho army man. You've got the self-righteous Sigourney Weaver doctor scientist. You've got the corporate prick, right? You've got the grunt who just does what he's told, but then has this come to realization moment. Like, there's nothing original in this movie except for the visuals. And that's my biggest problem with this movie. I don't know.
And I think that's what this movie was, though. What it is. This movie was a visual vehicle to tell that to me, he didn't want to get trapped up in a bad story or a good story. He wanted to tell a story that was not new because everything else was. He wanted us to focus on the fucking writing of the whatever those creatures were
for 15 minutes.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, no, but it was. Look I'm with you on the length, Brandon, but you have to admit.
Oh, I will. Yeah.
The visuals of him riding, of them riding the horses, of him becoming a Na'vi it was spectacular. It was absolutely fantastic filmmaking.
Yeah. Before we jump on, I just want to say that I just want to agree that Sean, you're 100% right. Jerry, you're 100% right. Ed, is that visually this movie is brilliant. I'll use the word brilliant. I think it's revolutionary. I think it has already the ripple effects have been seen in the last 12 years, 13 years since this movie came out. And I won't disparage that. I won't discourage that. But for me, there needed to be more. Right? There needed to be more to get us from point A to point B. Just take Titanic, right? James Cameron, that's his masterpiece. I honestly think that. I know we in pop culture make fun of it now, but think about it. The story was all about a boat sinking, but yet we didn't really care about the boat sinking because the story developed between this couple. They could have done this between Jake and Zoe Saldana's character. They could have done this. He could have done this, but instead,
who was amazing.
You're right.
I like Zoe.
Oh yeah, Zoe was amazing. Yeah, the acting was acting. But Jared, go ahead. Sorry,
Brandon, can I ask you something? I totally agree with you, by the way, on this whole Titanic situation, when how he was able to make this love story more important by Titanic. But was his goal in this movie, and this is my question to you guys, was he trying to make Pandora more important than the characters, about the whole culture of Pandora and everything like that?
But I didn't care. I didn't care about Pandora because I didn't care.
I agree with you 100% on that, because I didn't care about it too much. I didn't feel connected to the characters. I wanted to, but for some reason, I feel connected to the atmosphere. The reason what they were trying to do, and I think that was the main character of Pandora, which he didn't really get a chance to really explore in this.
I think James Cameron had three directives in his mind about this movie. The first was an environmentally conscious push to bash or to create a disparity between people who want to harvest the earth and people who want to protect the earth. I do think that was his primary goal. Yeah. His secondary goal was to have a gorgeous visual which would support the first goal, because everyone's going to remember how beautiful this movie is and then remember this primary goal. I think his third goal was to produce a really good movie, and that's why we got a mediocre movie with great visual effects and an overarching, very environmentally friendly theme.
That's truly well said, Brandon. I was wondering, I have a question. Why don't you, I don't see a lot of avatars, like Jake Sully, besides Drace and Jake Sully's friend and Jake, right? There's three.
Yeah, there were three.
I wish there was more.
In the training, there was a bunch of playing basketball.
It's exactly like where did they all go?
Where were they?
Exactly. It would have been cool to see a whole little bit more of community of people. I don't know, or I feel like they fell short with a lot of there was plot holes. I was just wondering
if you would have cleaned out kind of God dang it, sorry, cleaned out the over characterization or over character
exposition, really
character. Yeah, if we would have carved that out a little bit and just thrown Jake Sully into the situation, let him go talk to the Na'vi. Not know that corporate was trying to infiltrate the Na'vi, not know that Stephen Lang was even like a character, and let all of this develop on one plane, and then all of a sudden have corporate come in and do some chicanery at the end or in the middle of the end. That would have been a more effective movie. And instead you kind of had like, here's my cards. I'm showing you all my cards, and I have a full house. And it's like, well,
let me ask you something. Do you think he would make the same movie? We know that the new one's coming out, or has already have come out and everything. So let me ask you something. Do you think, because we haven't seen it yet, do you think that he's going to make the same mistakes, or he's going to actually focus
100%,
on more of the characters?
He will double down. James Cameron will double down on stupidity. That's what he will do.
This is the way I described it to Sean yesterday when I talked to him, and I stand by it. This is visual masturbation. That's literally all it is. It's just, can I throw pretty pictures on screen and have people smile? And the problem is, that's not why people go to see movies. Not solely. I think that we need to see pretty pictures, but we need to have something.
Yeah, not 3-hour movies like that.
Yes,
Jeremiah, you can be the first one to admit that directors double down. That's what they do. If you look at George Lucas after the disastrous reviews for Phantom Menace, what did he do? I'm a direct and produce the second one. Attack of the Clones. Oh, you didn't like that one? Well, here's the third one. Look at
you got to remember this. Okay, this is James Cameron here. Okay, so he was trying to do this movie for a very long time, and he didn't have the resources or the technology to do it. In 1999, he was trying to do it. It would have cost him $400 million. And the only reason why he decided to do this movie was because of the success of Lord of the Rings, Gollum on the Two Towers and everything. Now I'm just saying this is that James Cameron, he flexed so hard on this movie regarding to what he was able to actually do. He was actually going to a different world, a different skill set of a person that has over 25 or 30 years of experience. And you know what he did? He brought in a $2 billion fucking movie successfully. Trust me, I'm not, cheerleading for this fucking movie. What I'm telling you is that you have to look at what he did to this movie. Now, you guys are saying...
Hold on, let him finish.
Let me finish. You guys saying that the story is kind of weak and whatnot, which I agree 100%. But it does fucking work. It gets to point A to point B to point C, dude.
But here's the thing. To the best of his ability.
George Lucas did it with $1 million in 1977 with no technology, with nothing. He literally invented ships flying through space. Peter Jackson reinvented on a grand scale, on no budget, the greatest science fiction movie ever made. And I can tell you right now, I would rather watch 11 hours of Lord of the Rings than sit through this shit fest again.
So here's wait. And then I got something.
Agree with that.
So, but to your point, he did reinvent what we actually see in the movie theaters and whatnot. You have to agree with that.
Oh, we will.
Oh, he did.
Here's my answer to you, Jer, and I just looked it up. So you asked, is he what's his next step? Is he going to be stubborn and blockheaded and just go with the same shit? I just looked it up. The runtime for 2 is 3 hours and 12 minutes, which is exactly 30 minutes more than Avatar. 3 hours and 12 minutes. When's the last time that you saw a major studio film run over 3 hours and be the least bit successful?
He's not just doubling down on this. There's already a 3, a 4, and a 5 ready to go. Filming.
I'm telling you. You asked if he's going to make the same movie. He is a stubborn, arrogant, which makes him a great director, but he is a stubborn, arrogant, and very, very big-headed man. He is not going to take the failures of Avatar and learn from them. He's going to say, those failures are what made Avatar great. That's exactly in his head.
Exactly.
He's like, man, he brought the same fucking cast back. Sam Worthington hasn't been in a movie since 2009.
What happened to that guy? He was supposed to be the next big thing, right?
Well, I was telling Brandon off mic. I watched this on my 13-hour trip up to Oregon, and I'll say, Sam Worthington was in 3 amazingly high-profile movies in like 2009. He was in Terminator Salvation.
Yeah.
He was in Avatar, and he was in Clash of the Titans or Wrath of the Titans, whichever one came first.
I thought that came out in 2010.
Clash.
Within a 12-month period.
Within a 12-month period, and that's it. That's fucking it. Like, he had his shot, and he did not make it.
He's coming back for Jade Sully. He's coming back for Jade Sully.
I heard that Matt Damon was supposed to be in this film, actually, and he actually turned it down or something like that.
He's smart. I'm sorry, but it would not have helped his career.
No. Seriously, this is what he said here. He's like, James Cameron came up to me, and he gave me, he said that he'll offer me 10% of the movie. You're looking at a guy that actually turned down $600 million, basically.
You know what? The guy's rich enough; he doesn't need the $600 million. And it would have further sullied his name.
I thought that was one of the funniest interviews. He's like, "Yeah, you're seeing a guy that just walked away from $600 million."
Oh, so let's talk a little bit about, because you said the acting was good, and
now
Zoe Saldana has turned.
Yeah,
she's turned into one of the, in my opinion, one of the best actors of the generation.
Oh, she's a fucking star, yo.
She was not good in this. And it was not her fault. It's just that, once again, she was buried in a character. I don't know how much acting came through in the avatars, like digitally, but it just did not seem like there was that much acting going on.
So was it her, or was it her avatar that was bad acting?
No, I'm thinking that let me rephrase. I don't think that she necessarily came through in any way spectacularly. Where I think that Jake Sully, I think that Sam Worthington did. I think his expressions came through more.
I mean, there's so much that you can actually just believe regarding to the avatar, the avatar that's on screen. As much how cool it is and how much they're connecting and whatnot, I feel no connection, or I don't fucking believe in this whole story. I know that's kind of fuck up.
But is it that you don't believe? You just that you don't care about them. You don't care about them, and I do say that
he never bought. He never bought in.
Yeah,
I never got bought in. Yeah,
he never bought into the And this is the thing. If you look at Last Samurai, and Brandon, you had mentioned the
Dances with Wolves.
Dance with Wolves, which I've never seen. But if you look at Last Samurai, which is essentially the same story, is Tom Cruise buys into the culture of the samurai, but it was presented in a gorgeous way, in a beautiful setting, and it made you just heartbeat for this culture. I didn't feel that for the Na'vi. I really didn't.
No.
I was like, yeah, they're okay. So
let me ask you something. Do you guys like the first half of the film, or do you like the second half of the film?
First half.
I
like the last 30 minutes.
Nope. No,
the same coming close to an end.
The same action over and over and over with absolutely no storyline. I'll give you that, Ed. You're right.
Let's just throw bullets at it, bro, and let's just see some more.
let's have a transformer fight an avatar. I mean, come on.
And then we have a dinosaur running through it, and we had a dinosaur running through and knocking everyone around.
It's basically a Power Rangers episode by the end of the movie.
What did you think about him taking on the shadow from above? What do they call it?
The red thing?
The dragon.
Fuck the dragon.
I have lots to say about that.
Shit.
Ready, basically. I was just gonna say, literally, it was the most. I'm going to take Sean's word. It's the most half-assed approach to getting trust, right? It's not even shown on screen. All of a sudden, he shows up with the red dragon, and everybody bows to him like he's a god. Like, I get that that's like their deity, kind of. I know the trees are deity, but at the same time, you want to show us every nitpicky detail about this world, yet when it has to do with like progressing the storyline forward, let's just do it off camera, off screen, and then have the reaction shot, which to me doesn't work. It just didn't work.
I'm gonna bitch about something else for a minute. I'm sorry,
Please
Jeremiah, but I'm gonna bitch about something else. You just brought it up that Iowa was their deity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they tried to. It's like, how arrogant do you have to be? You've got probably 70%, maybe 80% of the population of the countries that are watching these films are religious. Some, maybe Christianity, maybe Buddhism, Muslim. There's 100 different religions. People have faith out there. 80% of people have some sort of faith. And in one line, they basically said, "Oh, it's not fake like the other religions. It's real. It's biological. This connection to their deity." And I'm like, way to piss off 80% of your audience because you're stupid. Like, just be nice and just be respectful. You don't have to believe what we believe, but for fuck's sake, just don't be an asshole. And this is where
the problem is that people did not pay attention. They were too much about the eye candy of what they saw on the screen. They were fucking like lost in Pandora. So that's what's fucking happened. So when people watch this movie back, you're just like, oh fuck, this movie's fucking long. Fuck. What the fuck am I looking at? What's going on here? Why did they wait 10 years, 12 years later to write a fucking sequel?
It does not translate on 8 inches as well as it did on 108 inches. So just
it did. Just rewatching this again, I remember now watching this movie in the movie theater, and I was disappointed as I was watching. I was like, what the fuck did I just watch? Like, it was okay, it was cool scenes here and there, but it was like overall, I was like, I wasn't able to explain it at 2009. I was like, what? I just wasted 3 hours of my time.
How have you progressed since then, Ed?
I followed Zoe, because I know she came in Star Trek. I was like, okay, she's badass, okay, and she was in Pirates of the Caribbean, so I followed her out of everything. But I mean, progressed since then. Don't watch movies 3 hours long.
I remember this, guys. I remember there was a topic of which one did you like more? Did you like Avatar more? Or did you like District 9 more or District 8?
Oh, District 9.
District 9. It's
District
amazing.
9.
Fantastic.
And I remember saying that movie was fucking way better than Avatar.
And it didn't get as much love.
I used to get shit by people like, oh, I don't know about that movie.
You should have called me. I would have had your back.
First of all,
wish I would have actually.
The Charlito Copley when his transformation was just it was heart wrenching and wonderful. Well, let's start with the music, because I thought one of the places that this movie did excel was in the music. I thought it had some beautiful James Horner, a lot of horn, lot of depth to the music. Any thoughts,
Jeremy?
on that?
I want to hear you.
This is my least favorite James Horner fucking score, and I mean this in a very nice way. It just sounded too Lion King for me, too fucking, just like
overplayed it. You overplayed
it. It just seemed, and I read something like he literally worked a year and a half from 4 a.m. to 10 p.m. on the score. And working with James Cameron, you're gonna fucking do shit like that, allegedly. But dude, seriously, I was not about this score at all. But that was just me, dude. I like his previous work. I think this is my least favorite one.
What other stuff has he done?
Titanic.
James Horner's done a ton, but Titanic. One of the things that I could think of off the top of my head was the Mask of Zorro, which was I know it sounds like a odd movie to pick, but the score was just
He also did Braveheart, bro.
Braveheart is to me one of the greatest scores ever.
I got a little vibes from Braveheart in this when they were running through, when they were trying to find their birds, they had to go run through the wilderness and go up, the floating mountains. So you got this vibe. Remember Braveheart when William Wallace is running through the mountains and you got that you had the music that was playing.
Yeah,
you got that same vibe here. I was thinking that
he also did Legends of the Fall, which to me is a beautiful score. And I think that Braveheart, Titanic, Legend of the Fall all trump Avatar.
Hell yeah!
But I do think Sean that it does,
and it's support. And I think he did Field of Dreams.
Oh, he might have.
He did. Yeah, he did Field of Dreams. I mean,
the guy's amazing.
He's done a lot. I'm looking at his. The problem is that they keep putting his stuff in, right? So it's like 2008, so soundtrack, Yeah. But his compositions were all the way back for into the 80s, into the
he did
Willow, actually. He did Red Heat, he did Cocoon, Field of Dreams, Honey I Shrunk the Kids. I mean, these are, when you hear them, they're very
iconic.
James Horner. They're very iconic. James Horner. Right.
They're so beautiful, yeah.
The Rocketeer, that's what I was looking for. Rocketeer is one of the greatest soundtracks of all times. It's just fantastic. American Tail, same kind of concept, but
I love American Tail.
Going back to the movie with Jake, did anyone feel like? I mean, he dived straight in with these people right away. He was like, "Let's fuck up the sky people, bro."
He got within 3 months. 3 months of his research, he went from fucking
killing his own people
to fucking point D.
Bro, you're gonna have to see these people on the plane soon, right?
It's like, I'm gonna fuck shit up. I'm gonna fall in love. Fuck the sky people. I'm done.
Jeez, bro.
To me, what I keep saying one of, when really it's one of the many. But Sigourney Weaver to me dropped the ball. And we talked about Zoe Saldana, we talked about Worthington, but to me, Sigourney Weaver, who I think is always really strong. I think she's like Tom Cruise. When I see her in a movie, I don't see her character. I see Sigourney Weaver, which normally is fine. But to me, this one, she just looked like it was forced. I don't know if did anybody you guys kind of catch up, see that with her?
It was very scripted 100%. Lines. Very scripted lines.
Yeah.
Everyone was expecting Alien. Yeah, everyone was expecting Alien, but they got something else out of it.
She was a caricature of what she once was. And I've seen her, I've seen Sigourney Weaver be really, really good. This was not good. This was just, it was just kind of trash.
You know what? Yeah. I have to agree. Sometimes with that, I think it was the movie, too much green screen. Over time, I think you just lose what you're doing. It's sometimes you want the realism back, and it's just too much fakeness. And I think some people can't act in that after the whole 2 hours and 59 minutes part of this movie.
Not to say it again, but I think honestly it was that these sanctimonious people were in these sanctimonious roles. I think Sigourney Weaver believed everything she said in the movie from an ideological perspective. And when you play someone that is you, it comes off catty and bad. Yeah. I love when actors play something contrary to their beliefs, because they actually have to convince themselves to be actors.
That's a really good point. No, that's a really, really good point. I like that.
Note to this from what you're saying, Sean. From my understanding, Sigourney Weaver allegedly said that, I kind of actually got based off my character of James Cameron.
Really?
Yeah.
Where's my cigarette? Where's my fucking cigarette, guys?
Yeah.
So what's wrong with this picture?
Oh, that line, Ed, that line killed me.
Of James Cameron.
Oh God, it drives me crazy. I'm like, really? And I love when they smoke in space. Don't get me wrong, I love it. But
so that brings us to the end of review. Now it's time of the podcast where each of the hosts provides a score on the following scale. Eddie Sully, can you provide the scale, please?
I'm really happy I'm really happy I'm not the only one that didn't like this movie. I was really afraid that you guys really loved it for some reason.
No.
Yeah, the 0, the perfect movie. You don't need shit to enjoy it. 1, a feel-good first cocktail. 2, a happy buzz. 3, you're gonna Uber lifting home. 4, rough morning watch of shame. 5, blacked out, shit-faced spring break drunk. Gentlemen, let's. This is the first one, so let's start with Jeremiah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jeremiah. Ooh, I like it.
Okay.
But why? Can we get why? Can we get a why?
So I actually provided the score to my fellow gentleman cast here. So there's a few things here. One, I did not connect to the story whatsoever. I think I was never an Avatar fan back in the day, and I'm still not really a fan as of right now. I don't really care about Pandora so much. What I will give praise about is James Cameron's visual of what he was able to do with the cinema and what we are able to do from that point on. I think when you look at the planet of Pandora, it's fucking gorgeous. It's amazing what you see there. However, it's a way too long of a fucking movie. It's way too much where you just don't give, two shits about. I like the second half of the movie more than I like the first half. That's just me. But you got to give praise to James Cameron for what he was able to do and what we were able to actually build off something that was really visually stunning for me. So that's why it's a 3.25. It's a Uber lifting home. But I'm going to have a little fucking shots because it's not even an average movie. It's pretty fucking rough, guys. So that's just my score.
Eddie?
Let's go with Brian, Eddie. Brand Eddie.
Yeah, Eddie Solid here. This reporting here. I don't know how I'm supposed to do this. So this movie had a lot of holes in it. I mean, the visual, it was one thing that I've never seen before in 2009 at this time. It holds up with that part of the movie. The music was good. The idea of the movie, I think if everyone remembers this movie, it was a very popular movie. So I think everyone just watched it because of the name and who was backing it was James Cameron. I think James Cameron's throwing around his name a lot with this, and that's why he has 3, 4, and 5 lined up. And I think he's just milking the cow pretty much now, and he's just getting as much money as possible. So I really thought this movie, I thought it was better. Like for some reason, it didn't land. The second time watching it, it just didn't land for me at all. And there's little parts of it that I'm like, oh, cool. Personally, I like the back half of the movie when there was actually fighting scenes. I wish it was more. This is gonna sound weird, but I wish it was more deaths in the movie. I felt like it was too happy-go-lucky. And you knew that good guys were going to win at the very end. And you knew almost exactly what was going to happen. You could say it without even watching. It's like, oh, this is what's going to happen. For me, it's just not realistic. And I mean, from the very beginning, it's not realistic, but it's beautiful. I'm below Jeremy's score already. So I was going to give it a 3.5, and that's me being nice. So this is I'm an Uber looking home, but with a shot. So I'm close to a rough morning watch of shame there. Sean, you.
All right. So this was obviously my pick. We starting off season 4 with kind of a doozy. And the reason I picked this movie specifically was the visual impact I think that it gave on cinema. One of the podcast mandates we have is how does this movie impact movies to come? This movie changed the face of cinema. The technology that James Cameron developed in this movie has led to all the wonderful things we've seen with the MCU, all the de-aging that we're going to see with Indiana Jones 5, all the shit that has come after 2009 is because of this movie. And so for that, it does have merit. If I was to honestly look at this movie honestly and just judge it based on script, it would be a 5. Just based on acting, it would be a 5. And that's realistic scores. They're terrible. Like there is not one shining star among the maybe Joel David Gray, whatever I think that's his name. The little dweeby sidekick. I thought he was fine, but other than that, there ain't much to go on. So all this movie hangs its hat on is the technology and is the beauty, and it is stunning. You have never seen a movie like this. You probably will never see a movie like this again until next when the Avatar or whatever. So for that, it's for me, it's gonna be a 3.5. I'm right there with Ed. I think this movie is an Uber or Lyft, your Uber lifting home with an extra shot, and I almost went worse, but I have a feeling Brandon's gonna do that job for me, so I thought I'd let him try to do it.
So if we're gonna go the Jeremy way, then here it is. Ready? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Fuck out of here. This fucking guy breaking the rules already.
So
only the host can break the rules.
It's really hard, Sean, because you really put me in a tight spot. I'm not gonna lie. because and you really kind of spoke for me in a lot of ways, because if I'm going off of my feelings towards movies and stories, this is a 5 movie. Like, this is, to me, I would rather watch Great Gatsby on repeat, Elvis on repeat over and over instead of watching this one more time. Like, that's how I feel about Avatar. And I remember feeling that way in 2009.
Go watch To All I Love the Boys Before, and you'll feel
I have not
way.
seen that one.
I'd rather watch that fucking train wreck than this bullshit right here.
That's a lovely train wreck.
So I'm just going to get to the point. And the reality is, if you've listened to this podcast at all, then you know that I don't like action movies for the most part, especially shit like, what's that one we did with the surfers and the bank robbery, Sean? What was that?
The Rain. It's called The Rain.
We're not doing that.
We're not doing that. Okay, anyway. Okay. Point break. That's a one time for the season. Anyway, the reason I don't like action movies is because I care about story and I care about characters more than anything. I want to know the characters. Even characters more important than story. The problem with action movies, and this one falls very, very much into the category of action movie, is that it says, fuck the characters, fuck the storyline, let's just blow shit up, right? And that's what the whole last half of the movie is. And it's fine for people, Ed, just throwing you out there, people who enjoy the action. Like, that's great.
Bro.
Right, and that's great for a lot of people. That's great for a lot of people. To me, it doesn't make a good movie. I want to see a story. I want to be captivated by the characters. I want to be transported to a different place and believe that the people I'm seeing on screen are people that could just exist just as realistically as the person next to me. This movie falls short. The problem, and Sean, that's where you backed me in the corner, buddy, is that this is, to me, one of the most influential and important movies in the 20th and 21st, like the late 20th and early 21st century. Like, this movie has done so much for film, and that is our mandate. No, I was planning on giving it a 4.75. That's really where I was going to go. But you guys definitely did talk me down into it. I want to give it a 4. I'm not going to give it a 4. I'm going to give it a 3.75 because, and this is the only thing, is that, Sean, you said it perfectly. No movie that we have seen after 2009 could have been made the way that it has been made, even in non-action movies, without this film. We resort to CGI to basically anything and everything nowadays because of what James Cameron pioneered. And so, unfortunately, I'm going to have to give it a 3.75. It hurts me to give it that good of a score, but I do think that on its technical merits alone, it deserves that. So 3.75 for me.
Well, okay. I appreciate your open-mindedness, Brandon. That's very big of you in season 4. I try. So when you combine those scores and divide by 4, Eddie, what does Avatar get an average rating of?
Oh, and you know what, Brandon? I want to say 300 did this better before the whole visual effects making people look young. So I'll just throw that out there.
Oh, 300 sucked too.
3.5. Yeah. 3.5, guys.
3.5. Jeremy, where does that put us on the pantheon of movies that we have reviewed?
Yeah, it's in the bottom of our reviews, actually. It's tied for, I believe, 46 spots with The Big Lebowski.
Oh, I would have watched The Big Lebowski again.
I didn't watch that movie ahead of time.
I might watch that one instead.
James Cameron's lucky that it was.
That's a palate cleaner.
Very pretty film.
Yes,
very lucky.
All right, so let's talk, Jeremiah. Why don't you take us through kind of what we're trying to do for the season 4? We talked a little earlier about grouping movies together, about kind of what we're all about in here in season 4.
Yeah, so what we're trying to do for season 4 is kind of going back to what we used to do back in where we're choosing personal films or movies from our private collections, right? But we're also doing themes for each month. So for January, we're doing kind of a theme for director chairs. So basically, we're going to be first movie was James Cameron's Avatar, and we're going to be focusing on other directors for the month of January. So we have some kind of directors that we feel that are in our private collection of movies that we want to talk about, and we may like them, we may not like them, but I promise you this: you will be interested. I guarantee it.
Yes.
So the other thing we're going to try to do with season 4, Brandon had alluded to at the end of last season, is that we're going to try to bring you 52 episodes in 2023, 52 total episodes. and that is a big.
I need a contract here.
A big
commitment.
A big ask, a big commitment from us, and we feel like the audience deserves 52 good episodes for movies every Monday. Jeremiah is going to be putting out a episode of 3.5 Gentlemen.
Yep.
Woo-woo.
And don't wait. Think about this too. We will be doing TV series, throughout the year and whatnot. So usually our TV series will be coming out on Wednesdays. So, keep an eye on it. We'll let you know in per episodes what we're going to be doing. But yeah, it's going to be a fucking banner year, I tell you, 2023. And we're pretty much excited because you know what? What else do we want to do? We get to talk movies with our best friends and have drinks.
What's the next director for the next movie? Is it M. Night Shyamalan?
No.
I believe it's going to be your movie, bro. Yeah, it's going to be
yes.
Night.
Oh.
Or is it going to be Quentin Tarantino?
Oh,
no, it's M. Night
I don't
Shyamalan
know.
First. I don't know.
Okay, fine.
Eddie just swooped on my pick. Eddie just swooped on my pick, but okay.
How about this?
We'll find out next week.
Well,
you'll find out next week.
And I will say, first of all, Happy New Year to all you listeners out there. And a part of your New Year's resolutions, I have a very big ask of you. I'm going to ask you to share our podcast with 5 people. Ask 5 people interested in movies and cinema to listen to some of our episodes. Get up on there and give us some 5-star reviews on iTunes. Give us some physical reviews. You can find us on Instagram at @the.gentlemanpodcast. You can visit our website at thegentlemanpodcast.com. You can reach out to us by email at hosts with an S, HOSTS at thegentlemanpodcast.com. But please, 5 people in your network. Our goal is to, by the end of the year, grow our listenership by 50%, and we're going to do that in 2 ways. Number 1, asking you, the fans, to go ahead and share it with your friends, and number 2, we're going to be over on YouTube. You'll be able to
see what we see, what we look at,
see what we look like, and see us fight each other, and it's very fun.
See the drinks too. We're going to be drinking the drinks.
More drinks. Yeah. We're going to be focused on drinks, and guess what? We'll also have some merch going on this year. So you know what? You want to wear a nice cap? You want to wear a nice T-shirt? Fuck, it's going to be all happening.
Yeah, and one of the ones that I think I'm most excited about is I'm the Half. So the shirt.
Host is the Half.
The shirt that says I'm the Half.
No, we will have a shirt that says I'm the host.
I see you, Sean. I see you.
Thank you all for listening, and we will see you next week with a M. Night pick. So, cheers, gentlemen, and to you out there, thank you so much for listening, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.